starting with a lump of clay and then ending up with something that has a defined shape is really rewarding. And there's lots of other steps, like there's trimming and there's bisque firing and there's glazing, but for me throwing is definitely the most satisfying. I wedge clay a bit before throwing with it. If it's like new clay out of the bag, it doesn't have to be wedged for as long. The sponge helps to kind of distribute the pressure from my fingers across the clay. So if I want to use a lot of pressure with one finger, sometimes that can like gouge the clay. This sponge sort of helps to spread that out and also smooths the clay as I'm pulling up. So right now I have one hand inside the pot, one hand outside, and I'm trying to push the clay from the bottom up towards the top of the pot. So sometimes a sponge is a good tool to distribute that pressure. Here I'm attaching the spout of the teapot, and before I attach the spout to the body, I want to rough up the clay on both the spout side and the teapot side, and add some water so that when I attach them together, there's more surface area and they want to stick to each other. Yeah, so you saw me score and slip before I attach that handle and then press it in really firm to get a good join. And then the handle gets pulled, it's called pulling off the pot. So it's, holding the pot in one hand and pulling the handle directly off of it. So you want it to have a good join so it doesn't fall off, but it lets you get a really nice, I think the handles look really nice that way. They just sort of spring off the pot in a really organic way. It's a liquid wax resist, so it's water-based, so it does like wash out of the brushes and stuff, but everywhere I paint that onto the pot, it will repel the liquid glaze when I glaze them, which is good because when I put it in the kiln, you don't want any glaze on the bottom of the pot or it would melt onto the kiln shelf, or between the lid and the teapot body. You also don't want any glaze in there or they'll be fused together. So wax is helpful. It's about 24 hours for the kiln to heat and cool. It's like a 9-hour firing and then like 15 hours or so for it to cool back down. I fired a cone 6, which is 2232 degrees. Almost all of them change colors in the kiln, and sometimes it's really dramatic. I feel like my process is pretty typical as potters go, like as cone 6 electric potters, stoneware potters go. I think there's a lot of steps of like making ceramics that a lot of people aren't aware of unless they've taken a class in middle school or as an adult or whatever. There's lots of different shapes of trimming tools, and it's great for removing the excess clay that, sometimes, especially on a large or a wide form, you can't get all of the clay up from the bottom that you'd like to, so you can come back later and trim some away to get that refined shape that you want. It's a fun carving tool. It's like a V-shaped carving tool, so it makes a really crisp line. I'm definitely trying to make things that are a set, that are a family, but I also like it when they each have their own personality. And I also really like making functional wares. Like I like that someone's going to use this